Namaste. How's it going? I guess you probably figured out what today's subject matter is. That's right, sex. How often do you listen to an Ayurvedic podcast or a YouTube video or any social media thing on Ayurveda and sex? Even when I was in Ayurveda school with many different teachers, there wasn't that much discussion on sex. And I don't really know why. I don't know if people are afraid to talk about it or ashamed to talk about it, or there's a stigma against it. I really don't know. If we look at classical Ayurveda, just like yoga, there's Ashtanga yoga. And I'm not talking about Patabi Joyce Ashtanga yoga, the 8 limbs of yoga. There's 8 branches of Ayurveda, in which scenario, one whole branch is dedicated to sex. It's called Vajikarana, which is sexual health. A whole branch, a whole section of Ayurveda, 1/8 of Ayurveda is dedicated to sex. So I want to dedicate a lot of time on sex. And this is the first of many, many discussions on this. We're going to talk about so many things in this deep dive exploration. We're going to talk about herbs and sex and Tantra and Neo-Tantra and ancient Tantra and all of it. I want to uncover all of it and bring it to the forefront, and I want to do it from an Ayurvedic lens. Ayurveda does not shame us. Ayurveda does not make us feel guilty. Ayurveda wants us to be empowered, whole, vital, essence beings. The purpose of creation is to experience love and bliss. We've only been here 300,000 years, humans. In a universe more than 14 billion years old, we've been here 300,000 years. Mother Nature, Creator, Creatrix, Divine Father, Divine Mother, Shiva, Shakti, whatever you want to call it, decided to create humans. What do humans do that no other species can do? They can appreciate things. We can appreciate a sunset. We can witness the beauty of nature. Nature herself cannot witness herself, so she created us to witness her. Creator gave us 5 sense organs, the eyes, the nose, the tongue, the ears, and the skin, to experience creation, to witness beauty, to witness love. Yoga tells us the nature, Vedanta, Vedic texts, the mystical texts, the rishis tell us our nature is Satchid Ananda, true, pure bliss consciousness. That doesn't mean bliss consciousness when you no longer have a body. That means God is in and through your body. Every cell of your body is supposed to experience bliss at every moment of life. If you're not experiencing bliss all the time, you're defeating the purpose of your existence. Bliss doesn't mean you're spaced out in some other world. That means you're completely content, completely self-established in yourself. Ayurveda is a comprehensive system of health and wellness that views the human being as an intricate manifestation and incarnation of the divine, body, mind, and spirit. And central to this is the philosophy and the recognition, is in the Vedas, the philosophy and recognition that sexuality is a vital aspect of life that is deeply interwoven with our physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being and evolution. Unless you're a monk living in an ashram or a cave, sexuality is a part of life. And actually, in modern society, it doesn't even make sense because we're completely obsessed with it, and it's totally taboo. All of the imaging and the movies and the shows and the advertising is all about sex and the body, but it's still taboo. In the year 2025, it's still taboo. Doesn't make any sense. So let's stop making it taboo, bring it to the forefront of human consciousness. Because, let's see, we were created by sex. The universe was created by sex. Remember 14.5 billion years ago, there was this thing called the Big Bang. Pun intended, no pun intended. Big Bang. And there was a cosmic orgasm. And it spewed light out from that original yoni, the source. Yoni is source. It's source creative power. It spewed light out for, I think, 300,000 years, and then it started manifesting into form, into water, into earth, and all 5 elements, and all things. Out of nothing came the one. Out of one came two. Out of two came three. And out of three came all things. All of nature is making love with itself all the time. In Ayurveda, sexuality is neither taboo nor a mere biological function. It is regarded as sacred and a powerful force. When it's balanced, it leads us to enhance vitality and our spiritual growth. As per the Ayurvedic principles, a fulfilling and balanced sex life is not only a source of pleasure, it is a cornerstone, the pillar of overall health and longevity. The disciplined approaches of sexual health provide us a comprehensive lens of health, vitality, of reproductive health, of emotional health, mental health, of enhanced intimate experiences of all life. That's what Tantra is actually. The tanmatras, the organs of perception, the eyes, the nose, the tongue, the ears, the skin. Trataka, to bring them into one pointed, focused, devotional awareness. Sex is one part of that. Our sexual health, with herbs, with dietary practices, lifestyle practices, our breath work, our yoga, every aspect of life is leading to that sexual reproductive vitality, health, and intimate experiences, not just physically, with the divine. So much so that Ayurveda dedicates an entire branch of Ayurveda to this. Vajjikarana translates to the actions that bestow the vigor of a stallion. It's interesting. There's a blue pill. They call it the blue pill, right? In modern medicine, Viagra. That's what it's called, Viagra. In Sanskrit, they took this from Sanskrit. They changed the lettering. It's Vyaghra. Viagra. Wild, passionate female tiger. So they made the aphrodisiac erection herb the wild female tiger. Ayurveda and Vajjikarana is the principle that natural urges, our sexual desire, should be nurtured, not suppressed. Ayurveda says that ignoring or suppressing natural urges or instincts disrupts our body's equilibrium and leads to physical and mental disorders. How many people I know are addicted to porn, are addicted to masturbation because it's been suppressed, because it's been made taboo, and they go to their bedroom and they masturbate quick 5 minutes. Lovemaking should be hours long, but we've made it so taboo and we've made it a shameful thing. Our body is natural. Look, God created our anatomical reproductive organs. The female body has this anatomical structure called a clitoris. It has 4,000 nerve endings, more than 4,000 nerve endings that are designed for one function and one function only, and that's your bliss and pleasure. And when it's stimulated enough, you have an orgasm. Orgasm means ego death, little ego death. Then you've transcended the ego and now you're in bliss. And your body releases hormones of bliss and pleasure, serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin. You feel love and you reduce stress and you reduce inflammation and you're in health and vitality and you're in equilibrium. This leads to longevity. When we suppress that, when we have guilt and shame around that, it creates psychological imbalances. Vajjikarana not only focuses on enhancing libido and our reproductive capacity, it aims to improve our overall vitality, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual vitality, to strengthen our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual immune system. So we're crystal clear. So we have mental clarity. Ayurveda perspective on sexuality emphasizes balance, moderation, and intentionality. Sex is not really just seen as a reflection of overall health. It's a profound connection to our prana and our ojas. Prana is the life force. Ojas is the immunity. In this discussion, we're going to go deep into the philosophy, practice, and application of Ayurveda as it relates to sexuality. We're going to look at the holistic approach to fostering our sexual vitality, maintaining physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual harmony, and look at some of the modern challenges we face. When we can understand our sexuality from the lens of Ayurveda, we can truly cultivate a deep awareness of our own body and embrace the transformative power that sexual energy offers us. That's Kundalini, that's the creative energy of the universe. Through that creative energy, we foster the deepest, most powerful, and meaningful connections. In our modern world, we are filled with stress, with deep disconnection, with sexual dysfunction, and it's on the rise. Ayurveda offers us wisdom for achieving balance and well-being. So Ayurveda integrates sexuality into this bigger framework of life's purpose and fulfillment. It's rooted in this holistic understanding of human existence and what our purpose is. Sexuality serves not only as a means of procreation, but as a pathway to joy, vitality, mental and emotional alignment, and I would say spiritual alignment and ultimately spiritual enlightenment. Yeah, I just said that. Spiritual enlightenment. Your sexuality leads to spiritual enlightenment. Yoga says this too. It's not new news, okay? Kundalini wakes up from the base of your spine, your reproductive organs, rises up to your pineal gland, to your Sahasrara chakra, the Ajna chakra, the third eye in the crown, gives Lord Shiva, Purusha, pure consciousness a kiss, and we attain the realization of self. Ayurveda and yoga have declared we have 4 goals of life, or 4 aims of life called Purusharthas: Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Dharma is our purpose, and we have a Swadharma, our unique individual purpose, what we're here to do on the planet, how our unique puzzle piece fits into the big puzzle. Everyone has a unique puzzle piece. There's no 2 puzzle pieces alike. What are you here to do? What do you offer the creation? Never compare. There's only one of you. Why would you ever compare? No tree in nature ever compares itself to another tree. The oak and the aspen grow side by side. They share the sun, the air, the wind, the earth, the space, the same, with no comparison. Artha is wealth, material wealth and spiritual wealth, the understanding of self. And we need money. We need material wealth. We have to eat. We have to pay the bills. That's the modern world. So we need that. And Ayurveda is not against money. So we need that. We have to earn that. Ideally, how we earn our money is aligned with what our purpose is. Kama. This is one of the 4 goals of life. According to Ayurveda and yoga, kama, pleasure, desire, sensual enjoyment. And then ultimately, moksha, liberation, spiritual freedom. What we're here to do is know the self. Kama, as the expression of desire, is seen as essential, an essential part of living a fulfilled life. Unless you're a monk, it's an essential part of a fulfilled life. Ayurveda does emphasize that the desire must be guided by dharma and balanced with the other 3 goals of life. Because if it's not, we go into addictive patterns. We go into overindulgence or attachment, and that leads to disruption. All 4 should be in harmony. Ayurveda sees sex as sacred. It's inherently sacred. It's seen as the expression of our creative energy that mirrors the cosmic force of creation, the union of masculine, feminine, Shiva, Shakti. Whether you identify as he, she, they, them, none of it, all of it. There's a Shiva Shakti balance, a masculine feminine energy completely balanced in each one of us. In the Vedic text, they give the image of Ardhanarishwar, a being who's completely balanced in masculine and feminine principles. Ultimately, all of us have that capability, and we need that capability. We need to embrace our masculine and feminine, regardless of what body you were born with, regardless of what your sexual preference is. That's an inner form of consciousness. It's the interplay of consciousness and energy that ultimately sustains the universe. Ayurveda really sees sexuality as a 3-dimensional thing: physical, emotional, and spiritual. The physicality of it is the health of the reproductive organs and tissue. The emotional part of it is our intimacy, connection, and emotional well-being around it. And the spirituality of it is we're using sexual energy ultimately for transformation, for growth, and for self-realization. So when we have harmony amongst these 3, we ensure that our sexuality is contributing to our holistic well-being. So again, Ayurveda sees sexuality as a cornerstone to our overall vitality, and it's intricately connected to the health of the reproductive system, our life force, and immunity. We have In the male body, it's called Shukra Dhatu. In the female body, Artava Dhatu. That's the reproductive tissue. The human body is made up of 7 tissues called Sapta 7 Dhatu tissue. First is lymph, then blood, then muscle, then fat, then bone, then our immune system and nervous system, and then finally the reproductive tissue. The reproductive tissue is the culmination of physical nutrition and life experience through the 7 tissues. And when we digest our food, we digest our life experience through the 7 tissues, we have vitality. That represents the essence of our vitality. It gives energy and vitality to the reproductive function, our sexual vigor, and the production of ojas, that subtle essence that governs our resilience, physical, emotional, mental resilience. It governs our immunity. It governs our longevity. That's Shukra Dhatu. That's Artava Dhatu. Healthy reproductive tissue reflects vitality, fertility, sexual stamina. How many men have difficulty with getting an erection, maintaining erection, with infertility, both men and female, with ovulation, with menstruation, with lubrication of the yoni, the vagina, all of these things, with desire? It's because the ojas is weak. When there's weak ojas, there's fatigue, physical, mental, emotional fatigue. There's infertility. There's weakened immunity. Ayurveda looks at strengthening the ojas, strengthening the 7 tissues. This concept of brahmacharya that many of you have heard of in yoga, it's been translated somehow as celibacy. The word does not actually say celibacy. Brahma is God. Acharya is to find, to be established in, to walk with. It means to walk with God. What Ayurveda advocates is moderation in sexual activity, not abstinence, moderation. Excessive indulgence, especially in the male body, depletes the ojas. When a man ejaculates, it takes 35 days for cellular nutrition to reach all 7 tissues, 5 days for each of the 7 tissues. So to build ojas, your sexual vitality in the male body, in any body, takes 35 days. When a male ejaculates, it releases a massive amount of that nutrition. So it's the creative power of the universe, sperm, semen. It has the ability to create life. It takes so much time to build that up. So if we're just ejaculating, just for pleasure all the time, frequently, we're not regenerating that tissue. So we need time. So ejaculation in the male body can deplete us. And so there's actually tantric techniques to have orgasm, have multiple orgasm, full body orgasm without ejaculation. And at some point in this conversation, not today, but in another conversation, we'll talk about that more in depth. But unless we're actually trying to create children, there's not a huge amount of value in ejaculation. I actually think God is female, because in the female body, number one, when a female orgasms, she gains energy, where a man, if he ejaculates, loses energy. Also, the clitoris has 4,000 nerve endings, where the penis only has 2,000 nerve endings. So women has twice as much ability to have pleasure than a man. So besides that, it's the overindulgence that depletes that ojas, that physical and mental strength. And when there's, if someone is habituated to masturbation, especially a man, and they're ejaculating not just once a day, numerous times a day, it creates physical and mental imbalances. It really does, especially if it's to pornography, because pornography is not how people make love. That's not even love. I've actually had patients who have been in the adult film industry, and it actually creates a lot of psychological imbalance. There's no love. They're there 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day. Most women are faking it. Most women do not want to be penetrated by a 12-inch penis all day long. And they actually have to have vaginal surgery. They have to do repair to their vaginal tissue. It's kind of insane. It's sick. It's really sick, actually. When we are doing it in an adharmic way, in a way that's not in alignment with a spiritual purpose, it depletes us and creates imbalances. The benefit of moderation is enhanced energy, mental clarity, and spiritual focus. There was a boxer. Many of you have heard of him, Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay. He lost only a couple fights in his life. And the last fight he lost, I think it almost killed him, if I understand correctly. And both of the fights he lost, he very rarely lost. But the fights he lost, he was with a woman the night before. And he ejaculated a lot and lost his ojas. And that depleted him. And he swore, I think he said 3 weeks before any boxing match, he would not ejaculate. I'm not sure if he learned to retain or not, but he stopped ejaculating within 3 weeks of having a fight. My favorite basketball player, LeBron James, does not ejaculate during the NBA season. Brother is 40 years old and is in the elite category still, playing against the top players in the league who are in their early 20s. He doesn't ejaculate during the season. I don't think his wife is too happy about that, but hey, LeBron, if you're hearing this, Savannah, if you're hearing this and I'm wrong, please call me. I'd love to talk to you and you can correct me on that one. The modern interpretation of practicing mindfulness and intentional sexuality is that it creates a space for us to go deeper into love, self-love and love for our partner. The consequences of overindulgence is fatigue and weakness. Like Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali, he almost lost his fights. LeBron James knows the value of this, so he just keeps he doesn't ejaculate. He doesn't overindulge during the basketball season. Also, the overindulgence, whether you're male or female, can lead to hormonal imbalance. And it depletes our immunity and vitality, so we become susceptible to more stress and more illness. So we need to really honor the balance between desire and restraint. And we need to learn how to preserve the vitality and energy in our body. Breath is the connecting thing. So we need to really master our breath and awareness in this process. From the framework of Ayurveda, our sexual energy is actually one of the most potent forms of prana, which is our life force. And it's central to our physical, mental, emotional vitality, as well as our spiritual growth. What Ayurveda offers is practices that allow us to harness, preserve, and ultimately transform this energy. Basically, Ayurveda sees that sexual energy, that expression of prana, as the creative energy of the universe. We said this earlier. And what happens when we manage our sexual energy is increase of physical, mental, emotional vitality and vigor. Our emotional stability and creativity dramatically increases, and it leads to an awareness of self, a spiritual awareness of who we are, what our purpose is, and it supports the other purusharthas, the other goals of life. What Ayurveda recommends for both preservation and channeling of this prana and this ojas is to conserve the energy during specific phases of life, during different moon cycles, during different planetary alignments. And that would be more looking at your own individual astrology chart to determine that, or your own individual constitution. But the main way of preservation and channeling this energy, Kundalini Shakti, is through yoga and breath work. And ultimately, the goal is to direct the energy through the chakras for the sake of balancing all aspects of who we are as a physical being, emotional being, a mental being, and a spiritual being. And this relationship to the subtle body is profound because the sexual energy, the creative energy of the universe, interacts with the chakras, the energy centers in the body. And today I'm not going through all the chakras. We will have a whole discussion on chakras at some point. Today I'm just going to talk about 3 chakras: the root chakra, the sacral chakra, and the crown chakra. The root chakra is known as Muladhara, and this anchors our vitality and provides us stability physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. The sacral chakra, Swadhisthana chakra, governs our creative processes, and it governs how well we're able to give and receive pleasure. That's not just sexual pleasure. That's pleasure in eating. That's pleasure in nature. When you walk outside and you stop to literally smell the roses. Or I'm here in Hawaii, so I stop and smell the jasmine and gardenia flowers. You stop and appreciate the beauty of the rainbow, of the tide moving in and out, what you see, what you smell, what you taste, what you hear, listening to the birds chirping, the wind rustling in the bamboo, the sound of the tide gently caressing the rocks. This is all pleasure. The touch of the wind blowing through your hair. This is Swadhisthana chakra. It's the relationship we have to our own pleasure through all the sense organs. And it's our relationship to each other. How much do we derive true happiness, true bliss in our relationships to others? Or are we just relating to others for the purpose of survival? When we really access our prana and our sexual creative energy, it enhances all these aspects of life. And ultimately, when that sexual energy reaches the third eye and the crown, the Sahasrara chakra, the 1,000-petaled lotus, it leads to awakening and an understanding of who we are. This awakening of this prana shakti, this kundalini shakti, is a course concept in Tantra. And it really matches the Ayurvedic teaching of the transformative potential of our creative sexual energy. Sex doesn't just mean having sex with your genitals. It's having sex with all the sense organs, with your thoughts, with your emotions. You're making love to the universe. So important. The purpose of creation is to love. Every thought, every emotion, every feeling, every action should be aligned with that. The 4 goals of life should be aligned with that. And Ayurveda gives us so many tools for harnessing that power. Number one most important tool in Ayurveda is what's called the dinacharya. We've talked about this in so many other podcasts. The lifestyle, the daily routine, and within that, our diet. Ayurveda's emphasis on the role of diet and lifestyle is unparalleled in any other system. It's the maintenance and preservation and creativity of our sexual vitality and reproductive health. That is ojas. That is what preserves our life and gives us longevity. Ayurveda tells us there's specific foods that enhance this, specific herbs that enhance this, known as vrisha, aphrodisiacs. They enhance the vitality by nourishing the shukra or artavadatu, the male or female reproductive system. Examples of this is dairy. And if you're vegan, there's other ways of doing this, but if we can truly get pure dairy, cows lived outside, they were loved and honored and respected, and they were fed grass, not hormones, not antibiotics, not steroids. That dairy is raw, in nature, in harmony with the nature and the seasons. If we can get pure raw milk, grass-fed raw milk from a cow that was loved, if we can get pure ghee, this promotes ojas better than anything else. It's literally the best food we can eat. It promotes our vitality, the tissue strength, the 7 tissues, and it lubricates the brain, the myelin sheath, the muscles, joints, nerves, connective tissue. And the ghee, nothing compares to it. It feeds the microbiome. It regenerates the vitality of the gut intelligence. And it's one of the few substances that can go through every cell in our body in a day, in 24 hours. Remember, I was saying earlier, cellular nutrition takes 35 days to build ojas. That's why it's so depleting when we ejaculate unnecessarily. But when you take ghee, when you take Ayurvedic herbs with ghee, it regenerates that ojas in 24 hours. Amazing. A traditional formula that was used in India, they take the raw milk and some saffron and ashwagandha and they heat it up. They warm it up. They bring the milk to a boil, add the ashwagandha saffron. This rejuvenates ojas. Ghee with 10 almonds soaked and peeled and 3 large medjool dates. This does not disobey food combining laws. This is an exception to it. This is called ojas rasayana, rejuvenating our vitality. Almonds, dates, and ghee, a massive rejuvenator for the human body. Nuts and seeds are essential nutrients for reproductive health. And then Ayurveda has beautiful herbs to enhance our libido and fertility. Ashwagandha, the strength of a horse, and it's the greatest adaptogen we know of. Shatavari or Shatavari, she who possesses 100 husbands. Wow, what incredible vitality you must have to do that. Kapikachu. Kapikachu is one of the only substances that has natural dopamine in it, and it crosses the blood-brain barrier. So it's rejuvenating the prana of the mind. It's rewiring our neural pathways. Another major concept in Ayurveda that's absolutely essential for our reproductive health and vitality is agni, the digestive fire. And this agni, there's so many agnis in the body. There's panchabhuta agnis, the 5 liver fires that are digesting the 5 elements and the 6 tastes. Jatara agni, the stomach and digestive fire that digests the food nutrients. The dhatu agni, digesting and converting nutrients through the 7th tissue. And manasa agni, the mental fire, digesting our life experiences. All of these digestive fires need to be balanced to have healthy ojas, healthy prana. When they're out of balance, we either consume ourselves or we form toxins. There's an agni called vishama agni. It means unstable. It's in fluctuation between too much and too little. When agni is too high, it's called tikshna agni. It's sharp. It burns up the food nutrients too quickly and can actually burn up our tissues. It puts us in a catabolic state, so the body is becoming depleted and weakened. Or manda agni. It's dull, it's slow, it's tamasic, it's inertia, and we don't digest our food nutrients or our life experience, and that forms toxins, physical or emotional, mental toxins. So we need to have this balanced digestion, this balanced agni. And when it is balanced, when it is strong, all 7 tissues are nurtured, and that shukra dhatu, that artava dhatu, is filled with life force, and we're free of any type of toxins. So Ayurveda definitely recommends these lifestyle balancing things, waking up at the same time each day, going to sleep at the same time each day, eating at the same time each day, the oil massages to balance our hormones, physical hormones, neurohormones, to affect properly affect our libido, fertility, and overall reproductive health, our overall creative health. Our sexual energy is our creative health. We balance vata by incorporating warm oils, warm oil massage, warm oily foods, stabilizing our nervous system. When we're stressed, we cannot have good digestion or good sexual vitality, because what happens biologically is the body sends those stress hormones both to the digestive system and to the reproductive system. To the digestive system, those stress hormones turn off the digestive capacity. In nature, if we're a gazelle and we're being chased by a cheetah, it's not going to save our life if we want to stop and have a meal. We become the meal. So it shuts off the digestive capacity. Also, that digestive fire, that agni, it gets sent out of the digestive system to the brain. So we're on high alert. We're aware. Where's the danger? Where do I run? Where do I hide? We need energy to keep going. Because if we're not taking in new fuel sources and we have to run away from the cheetah or we have to fight the neighboring tribe for a long period of time, we need energy. Where does that energy come from? We borrow from the 401k of our future. That's the ojas. It shuts off our desire to reproduce. Because again, if we want to stop and procreate, we're going to become a meal for the cheetah or the tiger. So it shuts off the desire for reproduction. And then it starts burning the reproductive tissue for fuel because we're not taking in new nutrients. And so it's depleting to the system. Stress is the most depleting substance to our vitality. I know so many men who have mental stress about pleasing their woman and have anxiety performance, and that alone kills the erection and kills their stamina and vitality. Whatever the reason the stress is, it is depleting to our ojas, to our sexual vigor and vitality. So we need to stabilize the nervous system through whatever means possible. For pacifying pitta, we need cooling foods, coconut water, aloe vera. Aloe vera is actually in Sanskrit. In Ayurveda, it's called Kumari. She who is eternally 16, or the eternal virgin, or she who has infinite rejuvenative power, brings so much vitality back because it's regulating the heat and inflammation in the reproductive organs, so it cools us down. Now the ojas is vital again. Consuming cooling foods, nourishing to the nervous system. And a kapha, remember, if a kapha is too heavy, if they're stagnant, they need lighter foods, spicy foods to enhance the metabolism and get circulation going to remove the stagnation in the reproductive system. A few of the Ayurvedic lifestyle practices, in addition to proper timings of these things and proper diet, is sleep. We need good sleep. Modern science, Ayurvedic science, tells us that a bad night's sleep is so detrimental to every aspect of life. We need restorative sleep so we can rejuvenate the reproductive tissue to maintain hormonal balance. If we go to sleep late at night, after 10 o'clock at night, our body doesn't rest, the detoxification pathways are not open, and we don't regenerate. We need good sleep. One of my favorite characters of all time, Winnie the Pooh, said, "Early to bed, early to rise makes a bear happy, healthy, and wise." That's true for humans too. We need to follow the sun. Exercise, regular exercise improves our circulation and strengthens the reproductive system. And there are specific exercises that really enhance the reproductive system, and I'll talk about that more later. And just any stress management technique, whether it's getting a massage or doing meditation or pranayama or mantra chanting or a yin yoga, restorative yoga practice, or walking in the trees, walking in the forest, laying on the earth. All stress is the main cause of low libido and hormonal imbalances. So again, the Ayurveda practices enhance our sexuality when we do them with regularity. All of these things. And then we can do yoga poses. So the specific yoga poses that really enhance that sexual vitality. Butterfly pose, known as Baddha Konasana. It opens the hips and stimulates the flow of energy to the reproductive system. A really profound pose is bridge pose, Setu Bandhasana. This specifically targets the pelvic floor. It targets the blood flow to the pelvic region as well as strengthening the lower back. And cobra pose, known as Bhujangasana. This energizes the sacral chakra. It brings so much vitality there, and it boosts your vitality. Just all vitality. Physical, mental, emotional vitality. It's profound. 3 asanas can change your sexual vitality and life. So simple. Pranayama. There's pranayama techniques that greatly enhance our vitality and sexual energy. The 2 basic pranayama techniques that are used. Number 1 is what's called nadi shodhana or anuloma viloma. It's basically alternate nostril breathing because this balances the energy in the body. It balances all the nadis, the 72,000 channels that carry our prana through every cell. But it's balancing predominantly the 3 most important ones. Sushumna nadi, the central channel that kundalini moves along, and then Ida and Pingala nadi. That's the solar and lunar nadi, Shiva and Shakti. It brings complete balance to our whole being. This can be done in so many different ways. A very simple way is with Samavrita pranayama, equal breathing. You inhale for the count of 4 through the left nostril. You close the right nostril and you inhale through the count of 4 through the left nostril. Then you hold for the count of 4. You open the right nostril and exhale for the count of 4. And at the end of that exhalation, we hold out for the count of 4. Again, through the right nostril, inhaling for the count of 4. Closing both nostrils and holding 4, opening the left nostril and exhaling for the count of 4. Samavrita, it creates equality in the mind. It calms the mind. It rejuvenates the prana, the life force. And there are some contraindications to Kapalabhati, which means skull shining. Basically, if you have high blood pressure, but Kapalabhati, it stimulates the energy flow and clears blockages in our channels that prevent the blood from flowing, that prevent prana from flowing. That's a rapid exhalation, focusing through the nose on exhalation while pumping the stomach and visualizing light filling your crown. Honey, nectar of immortality filling the crown. You can't just do this pranayama. The alternate nostril breathing you can do by just the instructions, but you need to learn Kapalabhati either from a teacher or a really high qualified video or something like this, someone who really knows how to teach it. Don't just listen to what I just said for that. And then Ayurveda offers what's called rasayana, rejuvenation therapy through herbs. And we talked a little bit about that, ashwagandha shatavari. There's a classical formula known as chaivanya prash. Chaivanya was a Vedic rishi who came up with this formula to basically create cellular rejuvenation, immunity. I think his goal was immortality. Now, spiritually, as a soul, we are immortal. Physically, everything changes. But he created this formula, Chaivanya prash, which has more than 40 rejuvenating herbs in it. It's amazing. And another rejuvenation therapy, which if you are really highly toxic, look into panchakarma. That's the Ayurvedic detoxification process because we need to clear the toxins out of the body because physical, mental, emotional toxins block our energy flow. They impair our creativity. They impair our desire to manifest, create, reproduce. When there's so many toxins blocking the channels, how can energy get to the reproductive tissue? So this is super important to pay attention to these things. Now, Ayurveda also addresses sexual health from the viewpoint of the doshas and looking at the different dosha types. Because remember, each person has a unique prakriti and natural dosha constitution, vata, pitta, kapha. And when we understand this, we don't have to be the same constitution as our partner, but when we understand their constitution, it allows us to embrace them as they are without judgment, without wanting to change our partner. It creates a mutual understanding, and we can create balance from this place. So if we remember, vata types are creative and spontaneous. They need more grounding from their partners to stabilize their energy, whereas a pitta type would be more passionate and way more intense, and they need their partners who can really kind of calm them down and balance that fiery nature. Where the kapha, they're naturally nurturing and steady. They need stimulation. They need a dynamic partner. They need a partner that's going to wake them up at 5 o'clock in the morning and get them to the gym and get them doing their hip openers and climb the mountain and get on the treadmill and work it out and then energize them in the sexual act. And likewise, in addition to that physical dosha type, we need to really focus on the emotional and spiritual dimension within the sexual connection, because the sexual relationship is not just physical. It's the whole of who we are. It's the emotional, mental, and spiritual dimension. That emotional intimacy, we need to build trust to have emotional intimacy. We need to have good communication skills that can enhance the depth of our sexual connection. And the goal is spiritual union. The act of intimacy reflects the union of Shiva, pure consciousness, Shakti, pure energy. This symbolizes the merging of the duality into the oneness. The goal should be unity, consciousness, oneness, while maintaining a polarity. Without polarity, things get boring. So we still need to maintain the polarity, but we want to have a oneness, a unified field. So really, Ayurveda acknowledges this importance of balancing the masculine, feminine energy, Purusha, Prakriti, Shiva, Shakti, whatever you want to call it. But we should first really try to manage that energy within ourselves, then in our relationships. If we can create this balance in ourselves, we will have more creativity. We will have more harmony in our sexual and non-sexual interactions. We will have more fulfillment in our sexual and non-sexual interactions. And so taking the Ayurvedic wisdom and applying it to our life with all the contemporary challenges we have, the stress, the desire to achieve, if we can focus our energy into dinacharya, into daily practices, into self-regulation, we can reduce the amount of stress we have. We can reduce the infertility and sexual dysfunction. Again, the chronic stress, I think it's the biggest cause of reduced libido and the biggest cause of sexual dysfunction. It's number one. That's the biggest cause. Then everything else in the environment. So the Ayurvedic practices, again, meditation, breathing, adaptogenic herbs like ashwagandha, anything we can do that regulates ourselves and lowers cortisol. Okay. So to overcome all of these imbalances, we need a regulated lifestyle. So what I encourage you to do is cultivate presence and mindfulness first in yourself, with your intimacy with yourself, understanding ancient and modern concepts of conscious sexuality. Then you can bring that into your relationships, building emotional connections that enhance your sexual experience. And more than anything, honor sexual energy as sacred, as source of vitality, as source of your transformation, as source of the whole universe. Ayurveda's holistic approach to sexuality really emphasizes this interconnectedness of body, mind, and consciousness. Emphasizing balance, moderation, reverence. Everything is actually sacred. Every drop of water is sacred. Every bit of land is holy land. Every grain of sand, every touch should be sacred. When we understand sexuality as sacred and a vital aspect of life, we can achieve health, vitality, emotional fulfillment while understanding the nature of self. Whether you're using herbs or food or tantric practices, Our goal should be balance and vitality. This is not just a philosophy, it's a way of life. When we really integrate these Ayurvedic principles, it transforms us internally, externally. It transforms the people we're around. We have deeper connections. We have spiritual growth. And this wisdom really reminds us that sexuality, when it's balanced and honored, is a pathway to holistic health, longevity, and profound self-discovery. We will have so many more discussions about this. We're going to go really deep with this. So stay tuned for more and really start exploring your sexual energy as your creative power, as your life force energy, and embrace it. Don't shame it. Don't judge it. Don't condemn it. Love yourself, every part of yourself. This is the goal of life from a yogic and an Ayurvedic perspective. I sincerely appreciate your attentive awareness and your love and devotion to yourself, to the world. Continue to walk with love and light in your heart and express it in everything you're doing. And please, if you found any value in today's discussion, share it with anyone else who you think may benefit from it. And I really encourage you, invite you, want you to share your life experiences, especially around sexuality and spirituality. What depletes you? What invigorates you? What has your experiences been with your spiritual growth, your journey, your transformation, especially around your sexual energy? How has it served you? How has it distracted you? When you share your experience here in this forum, in this community, we all learn, we all grow. We grow one conversation at a time. And it's only through sharing that we can expand our knowledge and wisdom. So please, please, please share your life, share your experience here. And until next time, thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't thank you enough for listening and sharing with me. Namaste.